I'd like to call a meeting to order at this time. If you would stand if you can. And Henry Hurt will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, we come this evening thanking you first for another beautiful day. We ask for your blessing on this community. We especially ask for a special blessing on those who have lost their jobs at Nordine in the last weeks. We hope that they can very soon get employment. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Thank you, Henry. Roll call. Hurt.
Here.
Carter.
Here.
Ehlers. Here. Heaton. Young.
Here.
Evans. Here. Meadows. Beach.
Here.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'll have hearing of citizens' comments. If you would like to make a comment at this point, we ask that you go to the podium, state your name and your ward number, and keep your comments from 3 to 5 minutes, please. So now's the time.
I'm Steve Worley, Ward 2, and my problem is with the solicitors in town. Like 5 years ago, the sweeper guys, they went to my aunt's house, and she had Alzheimer's, and they wrote the check out of her checkbook for $2,000 and took her old sweeper, and she had Alzheimer's, and she, and then this last Tuesday, I had power of attorney over my parents, and I take care of them. And I came home about 5:30, and the girls in the house demonstrating a sweeper. And my dad's 93, my mom's 88. They can't be using no sweeper, And I told them I have power of attorney over my parents, and I want them to leave so I can feed my parents at supper. And it took me an hour to get them out of there, and threatened to call police 4 times. And I cleaned up all the stuff off the floor so they'd hurry up and get out. And then the guy showed up, and he showed me this permit dated the 3rd, February 3rd. And they were there on the 24th. But he did have a permit, but he showed me the wrong one. And he didn't have a permit for that girl to be in that house either. They're supposed, for each person that comes with him, they're supposed to pay $10 for him, And he has them all over town. He has them in a suburb, comes in a suburb, And so he wouldn't leave. And I kept telling him, told him to leave 25 times. And I called the police twice. Then he wanted to call me all kinds of names. I was a bad parent, a bad kid, and I wasn't a Christian. And then he wanted to fight me. He said, come out in the street. He waited out in the street, and I'd have the police on their way. He stood out there in the street for about 5 minutes. I had to call the police again and say he's out in the street wanting to fight me to get the police to come. I had to have 2 police cars, and that's a waste of time for our police cars, And we need to do something about our solicitors, you can't get them out of the house when they come. They get a foot in the door, and they either they wear you down, and they pick on old people, the senior people. And then last year, they had their driveway sealed. They had the ceiling. Then they had it tarred. Then next week, 3 people came by and wanted to tar their driveway. So either that guy didn't do a very good job at tarring his driveway, or those people were scamming them. The same my parents. And so that's about all. Just scammers. But I didn't know how to handle this or how we can protect our parents and stuff like that.
Okay.
And there's a lot of old people in this town. So.
Right,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Steve, for coming this evening. Steve, we typically don't respond directly under the hearing of citizens' comments, but I believe later in the meeting we will be reporting some things on that. So if you could stick around, it probably would be a good thing. Any other citizens' comments this evening?
Liz Davis, Ward 2. I've been coming to the city council meetings quite regularly since about 2010, and sometimes I get the feeling that I don't know what's going on in town, even though I'm here every week or twice a month. and I kind of just let it drop. And then last meeting, it came up again, and I thought I wanted to address it. An ordinance was read last time, an ordinance of the City of Boonville amending the code for blah, 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 changing the rates of the water, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera. That was all well and good, and then the council voted on it, and they approved it. But I was sitting right here in this room when it was done, and at no time did I know what those rates were, what you were actually voting on, and how you guys knew what it was. Since 10, I know that there's a packet, and that gives a lot more information, but it occurred to me that if I was sitting here and didn't know, there's got to be other people that have that same problem. They come, they listen on TV, and it's like, I was right there. Am I stupid? Did I miss it? You know, there just doesn't seem to be enough information to the people who want to know at the time that the city council meeting takes place. I am not suggesting that we print thousands of these papers, you know, for people who may show up. But I still think there might be a solution that people can know what's going on instead of hearing like your reports at the end, you know, the police meetings. It's like, well, we had a great meeting, the minutes are in the packet. Well, the first time I asked for a packet, I was told, well, it's in the box. Well, I went out, picked up an agenda, and I still came up with, what's a packet? Well, now that I work for the paper part-time, I know what a packet is, but that's not available to everybody. So I just think that there might be something that can be done so the people who really want to know, and I know a lot of people aren't going to care one way or the other, but I think there could be a better way to get information out to the people who really want to know what's going on at these meetings. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
The overwhelming bulk of the information that comes to the council is posted on the website. If there's something that's 50 pages long that's technical, it may not be, but everything else is on there. So. Or there's copies at City Hall if anybody wants to look at them.
No offense, but I think that would be good information for a newspaper article.
It probably will, but it also, by getting it out here tonight, it lets other people know that there is a place to find that information.
Okay?
So I've accomplished what I wanted to do.
Okay. Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Seeing none, we will move forward to approval of the minutes of the February 17th council meeting. We have the February 17th council meeting and the December 1st closed session meeting. You've had those over the weekend to read. Are there any additions or corrections? Seeing none, they will stand as presented. Consent items. We have one this evening. Consider pay request number 4 from B&P Patterson LLC in the amount of $6,512 for the Spring Street improvements. You had that sheet. Do I hear Morris?
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Do I hear a second? Becky?
Second.
Okay. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Meadows, I'm sorry, Beach.
Yes.
Thank you.
Presentation of accounts and claims. Teresa, when you're ready.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the Council of the City of Boonville as follows. Section 1, for the purpose of paying salaries and various accounts against the City of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on March 2nd, 2015, the sum of $2,628,317.26. General Fund, $335,067.48. Sanitation, $18,092.45. CIP tax, $53,564.08. Waterworks, $264,192.08. $191.51. Capital projects, $24,135.78. Wastewater, $180,085.26. Tourism, $10,747.01. Gaming, $1,742,433.69. Parks and Water, $0.00. Section 2, the bookkeeper is hereby authorized and instructed to draw the checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $2,628,317.26, being the total amount of money above appropriated. Section 3, this ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on March 2nd, 2015, read for the second time this second day of March 2015, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Ned?
Thank you.
Questions?
Numbers are a little larger this time because we accomplished all the annual transfers. So when you get the financial statements next time, sometimes some of you ask about the lag on the revenue side. Those ought to catch up next time.
Okay. Roll call.
Hurt.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Ayers.
Yes.
Young.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
Beach.
Yes.
Unfinished business, second reading of bill number 2015-004, changing rates to be paid for water and water services.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the Code of General Ordinances, Section 21-157A4C, changing rates to be charged for water and water service, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Carter?
You got it.
Questions or comments?
If we might, I think there's an appropriate comment for Liz.
Uh-huh.
With ordinances, we have a first and the second reading. The first reading is done without detail. It's given, the information is given to us, and it is available publicly because it's in the minutes. Then the vote is done on the second reading, and that's where conversation can happen, Liz. In other words, if one of us wants to object to what we're doing with our water services, we can do that on the second reading. It gives the public two opportunities to have a look at what we're looking at, and two opportunities for the public to contact us and talk to us. Thank you, Mayor. I hope I didn't miss anything.
Right. Steve?
Also, these next two ordinances, if you go through the budget process, there's a budget process that we go through.
Good point.
And that's where we get these numbers. So there is a process that everybody sees, the council, before they're voted on.
Right. What, would someone like to read what it is going up to, just for the record? I don't have my ordinance in front of me. Teresa, can you?
Effective April 1st, 2015, for the first 1,000 gallons of water consumed each month, the amount shall be appropriate minimum monthly water rate charges given below. For the next 9,000 gallons of water each month, it'll be $6.05 per 1,000 gallons of water. For the next 40,000 gallons of water consumed each month, it's a rate of $4.95 per each 1,000 gallons of water. And for the next actual usage, $4.50 per each 1,000 gallons of water. The 5/8 3/4 inch meter, the minimum charge is $18. For the 1 inch meter, it's $34. For the 1.5 inch meter, it's $61. The 2 inch meter is $94. The 3 inch meter is $170. The 4 inch meter is $279, and the 6 inch meter is $551.
Thank you very much. Morris?
Emil, that's $2 or less, right, for, just to break it down, rate increase? Okay, that's why I just want to make it clear, now, we're talking about less than $2
Yes.
increase.
Yes. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Hurt.
Yes.
Carter.
Yes.
Ayers.
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Beach.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item B, second reading of bill number 2015-005, changing rates to be paid for wastewater service.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending the Code of General Ordinances, Section 21-148D3, changing rates to be charged for wastewater service, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Mayor, I'll make a motion this be approved.
Okay, do I hear a second? Second. Okay. Questions or comments? To read what the wastewater is going up to.
Effective April 1st, 2015, the fixed charge per month shall be $12.05 per meter. In addition, each contributor shall pay a commodity charge for operations and maintenance, including replacement of $7.05 per 1,000 gallons of metered water or wastewater. The minimum charge shall be $19.10 per month.
Okay. Questions? Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Beach.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item C, second reading of bill 2015-006, Camric fourplex site plan.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, approving the Camric fourplex apartment building development at the northwest corner of Rear Main and Pine Streets, Boonville, Cooper County, Missouri, providing an effective date therefore and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Mayor, I'll make a motion this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Second? Second. Thank you. This has gone through planning and zoning and all the appropriate channels. So anyone have any questions?
I'd asked at the
Ned?
last meeting to have the emergency access checked. Did that get done, and what'd they find?
Yes, Tim made a review of it, as well as ML Cawthon, and they have plenty of access space. There is very little, if any, parking on the street in the rear main area, and I don't think anybody anticipates any problems, not only for the new, as well as we currently do not have any problems with the 5 units that are currently on that rear main street.
Thank you.
The other issue that was pending this council approval is submission and review of a effective stormwater maintenance management plan. And that has been done. And actually, it's a very kind of unique plan. We don't have one of these, and I must credit Danny Camric for coming up with this idea. It's a rain barrel with mini detention basins, which will not only be attractive, but unique, and I think will provide us a very good alternative for us to look at. I mean, it's not available to be used in a lot of different applications, but Scott Vogler has done the calculations on it, and it meets all of our stormwater requirements. It will require maintenance to keep the leaves and debris out of the gutters and the barrels and so forth, but that should be a minimum kind of maintenance requirement. So that has been approved and recommended by the city staff.
Any further questions? Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Beach.
Yes.
Moving on to new business. Item A, consider resolution number R 2015-03, accepting a bid from Concrete Solutions LLC for the Locust Street and Kemper Drive repairs, STP 1300-508.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri, authorizing and approving an agreement between Concrete Solutions LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri, pertaining to Locust Street and Kemper Drive repairs, STP 1300-508, providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville has solicited and received bids for this project and determined that Concrete Solutions LLC represents the best bid pursuant to the purchasing code set forth in Section 2-20 of the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain agreement between Concrete Solutions LLC and the City of Boonville, Missouri relating to the Locust Street and Kemper Drive repairs, STP 1300-508, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said agreement on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval. Passed this second day of March 2015 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Looking for a motion?
Make a motion this be approved.
Okay, Morris, do I hear a second? Ned?
Second.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Got a lot of bids. What, did we get 6 bids on this? 7? Okay. And we have used Concrete Solutions LLC on previous jobs? No? Scott, could you come to the podium, please?
There are several of the gentlemen that used to work for Aplex who have split off, formed their own company. They are licensed, or they are accepted by MoDOT on the contractor list, and they do have a bid bond.
Okay. You feel confident they are
We're
qualified
going
to
to give them a try.
Okay. Steve?
What are we fixing?
Locust Street project is Locust from Main to 6th.
Gotcha. Okay.
We are taking out the road, putting in concrete curb and gutter, concrete pavement, new sidewalk, ADA ramps, and so forth.
It's right by Laura Speedelia, correct?
Right.
Yep.
And it is a mess, and everybody's been wanting to get that fixed, so that'll be a good thing. Any other questions, Steve?
How about Kemper Drive?
That's also part of this project.
Is
I'm
it
sorry.
the same area?
It's, no.
Okay, I thought it
Kemper's over on Highway 5.
On the car
Kemper's
wash.
Drive by the car wash.
Okay, gotcha.
And we're paving the entrance to the road.
Here again, it's a much-needed project.
Thank you.
Mayor, the Locust Street project, is that going to be done after school's out, or will
Yes,
it be
sir.
done during school?
Yeah,
When
can you
school's out.
briefly, yeah, they've taken a lot of care to make sure that school's out and everything will start as soon as possible after school, so it can be done before school is starting again.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Scott. Ned, are you okay to vote now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Excuse me for the interruption.
okay. Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Beach.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item B, first reading of bill number 2015-007, intergovernmental agreement to contract for building inspection services between the City of Boonville and the City of Blackwater.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri authorizing and approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Blackwater, Missouri and the City of Boonville, Missouri to perform building inspection services by the Boonville Building Inspector, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Thank you, Teresa. Item C, consider resolution number R 2015-04 for Katy Bridge new pedestrian bridge crossing agreement.
A resolution of the City of Boonville, Missouri approving an agreement between Union Pacific Railroad Company and the City of Boonville, Missouri pertaining to the Katy Bridge pedestrian bridge crossing over the railroad's track at milepost 171.01 and providing an effective date therefore. Whereas the City of Boonville accepted ownership of the Katy Bridge over the Missouri River under ordinance number 4297 on January the 17th, 2013 from Union Pacific Railroad Company, and Whereas Phase 1 of the Katy Bridge rehabilitation includes replacement of the 62-foot missing span over the active UPRR line running parallel to the Missouri River, conversion of 233 feet of rail bed for pedestrian trail, and construction of an ADA accessible ramp to the south side of the bridge at an estimated cost of $750,000. And whereas the Union Pacific Railroad Company requires assurances that certain practices will be followed throughout the construction in, above, and around their active line operations as demonstrated in the terms and conditions of the attached agreement, and whereas the City Council entered into an agreement under Ordinance Number 4301 on February the 19th, 2013, with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission to receive Transportation Enhancement Program funds in the amount of $434,119 to partially fund Phase 1 of the Katy Bridge rehabilitation project. And whereas the City Council entered into an agreement with the Missouri Development Finance Board under Resolution Number R 2013-03 on April 9th, 2013, to receive tax credit contribution funds in the amount of $130,000 to partially fund Phase 1 of the Katy Bridge rehabilitation project. And whereas the Katy Bridge Coalition and the matching Boonville Community Foundation Fund, entitled Katy Bridge Redevelopment Fund, have pledged to pay any remaining costs of the Phase 1 rehabilitation. And whereas the City Council believes the rehabilitation and redevelopment of the bridge for pedestrian and bicycle access and incorporation into the city park system and State of Missouri Katy Trail State Park is in the best interests of the city, with significant contributions to the historic, cultural, and recreational assets of the city, as well as an economic driver for local, regional, and national tourism. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, that a certain contract between Union Pacific Railroad Company and the City of Boonville, Missouri, relating to pedestrian bridge crossing agreement, a copy of which is marked Exhibit A, is attached hereto and made a part hereof is hereby approved. Section 2, that the city administrator and the city clerk are hereby authorized to execute and attest said contract on behalf of the City of Boonville. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage and approval, passed the second day of March 2015 by the City Council of Boonville, Missouri.
Mayor, make a motion this be approved.
Okay, thank you, Morris. Do I hear a second? Becky? Okay, Becky seconds it. Questions and comments? Did you want to say anything before?
This has gone through extensive review. Obviously, this is a agreement that is drafted by Union Pacific Railroad Company, and its primary purpose is to protect the operations of the line, their active line that will be going on as the missing span is placed on top of it. So there are a number of assurances, supervision requirements, some indemnification requirements and so forth within the scope of the Missouri law that we can do. There are very detailed oriented in here. We have reviewed those. It's been reviewed by MoDOT. The Katy Bridge Coalition has got 2 attorneys on its staff too, to be able to help supervise that project. And a large portion of the requirements of the contract will be executed by the construction contractor who the bid will be awarded to. So,
Any questions you have? We've been waiting for quite a while for this contract, so this is monumental just to get the contract.
Huge.
So, no questions? Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ehlers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Beach.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Item D, first reading of bill number 2015-008, approving the budget for fiscal year 2015-16.
An ordinance accepting and approving the budget for the City of Boonville, Missouri for the period of April 1st, 2015 through March 31st, 2016, establishing all salaries and various expense allowances as set out in said budget.
Thank you, Teresa. Item E, first and second reading of bill number 2015-010, amending Chapter 13, Section 5, Weeds and Debris Code Format. So first and second reading.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending Chapter 13, Section 5 to correct the weeds and debris section within the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances in support of the newly approved Code Enforcement Initiative due to a Scrivener's error, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance. Whereas on February 17, 2015, under ordinance number 4362, the City Council approved revised sections of the Code of General Ordinances to update the authority and scope for a variety of code enforcement officials, departments, including the Building Inspector, Fire Department, Health Inspector, and Public Works Department. And whereas Section 13-5 for weeds and debris was inadvertently copied over from an outdated version of the code instead of the most recent code and format approved on April the 15th, 2014, under ordinance number 4344. Whereas the attached amendment reflects the most updated substantive code which authorized the perpetual offender procedures with the new authority and scope changes approved at the last meeting. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Boonville, Missouri as follows. Section 1, to amend Chapter 13, Section 5 as detailed in Exhibit A herein attached to and incorporated in this ordinance to correct the Scrivener's error. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect and be in full force after passage and approval. Section 3, that all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. First reading, March 2nd, 2015. Read for the second time and passed on this second day of March 2015 after a copy of this ordinance and exhibit have been made available for public inspection prior to its first reading.
Second reading, title only.
An ordinance of the City of Boonville, Missouri, amending Chapter 13, Section 5 to correct the weeds and debris section within the City of Boonville Code of Ordinances in support of the newly approved Code Enforcement Initiatives due to a Scrivener's error, providing an effective date therefore, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance.
Mayor, I make a motion that this be approved.
Thank you, Morris. Do I hear a second? Second. Kari? Questions or comments? Okay. Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Beach.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Reports of standing committees. Park Board, Steve?
Yes, basically, they revised and approved their 5-year plan. That was the major part of the meeting. Anything else will be in the minutes.
Boonville Housing Authority, Ned?
Another good meeting. Liz makes a good point with regard to the details that happen in these meetings. It's easiest to read the minutes, but in the case of the Boonville Housing Authority, it's rather repetitive because we hit the same items every month. There was nothing new or particularly outlandish that we discussed.
Okay. Fire Board, Steve?
The fire department will be carrying out fat oils and grease inspections, and they had a couple guys go over to Columbia, and they learned how to carry out those inspections.
Okay. IDA and MFA, Noah is not here, and I think, Jim, you're going to be giving a report here shortly, so we'll just defer that to your report. Reports of city officials. City Administrator, Earl?
I don't have anything.
Mayor, the only thing I have, I put at your place, Matt Billings has had to resign from the Tourism Commission because of conflicting work schedule, and Tourism Commission had asked that Robin Billings be appointed to that position. So I would like to hereby nominate Robin Billings to serve on the Tourism Commission.
Mayor, I make motion this be approved.
Okay?
Second.
Okay. Roll call.
Hurt,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Ayers,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes.
Beach.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's all I have, City Councilor.
I have two things this evening. One is to let you all know that the annexation trial that was scheduled on March 9th had to be moved up due to a conflict with Lou Leonati's schedule. So it is now scheduled for March 23rd at 1:30 in Judge Kaufman's courtroom. And the second thing is to address the issue of the peddlers and solicitors licensing procedures. The City of Boonville has a fairly extensive procedure and policy that we go through according to our ordinances. It had come to our attention, we started this about a year ago with some other constitutional kinds of issues and working with city staff, needing a little bit more direction on when somebody, what criteria it would take to be disqualified based upon a background check, those kind of things. So back in September, we started looking at making some revisions to those regulations, and I've just about got those done. We are going to redefine, we are going to put in specific criteria, as well as add a couple other features that we saw in some other cities that we thought might be helpful, including a no-visit list that we will have available. So if somebody wants to put their name on a no-visit list, we will have that and pass out to people who get licenses so they will know who is not interested in having a solicitor or peddler come to their residence. And also provide some additional educational materials for folks, because you can always put a no solicitors notice on your house also. I believe that there was a very nice article actually in the Boonville Daily News a couple of days ago that interviewed Bobby Welliver and provided some very good practical tips in terms of what the responsibilities are for the resident, homeowners, as well as how the city and the city police department can assist when a situation may get out of hand. So I think those are all very valid, and we will be working to make our regulations a little bit more consistent and provide a couple other options, which we will hope will also aid in that process. That's all I have.
Megan, am I correct that a national company contacted you regarding our ordinances?
We actually had that occur, I believe it was back in April of last year. The City of Boonville, through our process, we had denied someone coming into the city based on a background check. And I got a call from an attorney out of New Jersey who represented a vacuum sweeper company and challenging some of the language within our regulations. And so I think that our regulations were probably dated a little bit, and so we're going to upgrade those to make sure they comply. As we all know, we have freedom of speech here within the United States. We have a commercial freedom of speech, and so you have to balance those rights in an appropriate way. So we're going to accommodate those requirements, as well as trying to provide some safeguards for folks, just like was talked about this evening.
Okay. I find it interesting that people in New Jersey are reading our ordinances and calling us about them. Okay, economic development, Dr. Gann.
Evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
If you'll turn to your economic development report, I'd like to highlight a few things and then be available for questions. Item 1A, the IDA and the MFA have begun a process of strategic planning, the goal of which is to come up with a comprehensive strategic plan for economic development that we would then present to you for your consideration and feedback. That process has begun and a subcommittee's been formed. We have been meeting, and I'm sure you will be seeing more about that in the future. I'd like to direct then your attention to item 2D, is that the Nordine buildings are being actively marketed now as available. It took some time for that to occur, but that is happening. And I don't want to cast any false aspirations, or that's not the right word, but we have been getting some inquiries about not only those buildings, but the workforce that we now have available in Boonville, or will be having available over these series of layoffs. So the bad press that Boonville continues to receive over this one business closure that continues, the upside to that bad press is that I've had calls from people out of state that want to locate in mid-Missouri, and they're having trouble finding a workforce, and lo and behold, we have one here. So I don't want to make you think that something is imminent, because it is not. All I can tell you is that the activity has picked up, and the inquiries about our buildings and our workers have increased. On expansion activities, item 3, we did, the Municipal Facilities Authority reviewed the hospital's request. That was a continuation of a discussion that the council had with the hospital. The MFA did approve a $20,000 loan at what I think are fairly reasonable rates and terms, and that document should be in process of being prepared for the hospital board for consideration. Item 5, community engagement initiatives. There is going, back to the Nordine workers briefly, I'm sorry, wrong item. I met with Kinsey and Melissa Wather at State Fair Community College, and together we'll be hosting an event to bring professionals and entrepreneurs together there on their campus, and that's scheduled for 6:30 p.m. on 3/9. That will be in State Fair's building down there. And a development also that occurred last Friday with respect to community engagement is that 26 students of Boonville High School and Boonslick Technical Education Center attended an entrepreneurial conference in Columbia. So one of our economic development strategies is to build the entrepreneurial environment in Boonville. Our target is with young, aspiring entrepreneurs, so that's starting to gain some traction. Item 6, workforce development. I reported to you previously about the 6B. I've reported to you previously about the Alternative Energy Technician Training Program. That continues to move forward, and $70,000 of the $90,000 in match that the school district was required to attain has been received, and we're very confident that the remaining gap will be closed fairly easily. So that's good news. 6C is also a positive for the community, if you need to look for one in the Nordine situation, is we're also trying to get those displaced workers to seek a certification that and with regards to their work skills. Should we be able to do that, then we'll be very close to becoming certified as a work-ready community, which is a significant marketing tool that's available to us, which means that we have a ready, willing, and knowledgeable workforce. So we're continuing to work on that. And then item 6D, a resource fair at State Fair Community College has been scheduled for 3/19 from 9 a.m. to noon, and this is for educating the Nordine folks about what is available for retraining and education. It might interest you to know that of the 242 workers that were surveyed there prior to this last series of layoffs, that 90 indicated that they wanted to continue their education, and far and away was education in computers was the largest area that they wanted to study. So there is going to be a resource fair. A number of education providers will be there on $319. Also, the Nordine folks do get a significant retraining benefit that's available to them that is uncommon because their jobs are being lost to a NAFTA country. Also on there, you can see that a job fair is being planned for April. That date has now been set. It's April 2nd from 9 a.m. to noon in the Boonville High School Commons. So that's when the job fair will occur. In the project reports section, item 7C is a project that we've been working on for quite some time to serve military needs. There hasn't been any activity with that particular company, but we are now working on a Plan B to use that same idea with a different company. So just to let you know that that's in the works. And then item E, 7E, is we also have a Plan B on that project as well, meaning that the ideas for both of those projects have merit, but the companies involved that we were working with don't seem to be moving, so we're going to shop the ideas around some. So that's the plan on those two. An item that's not on your list is Project Snow, and that is a specific manufacturer that called, and we had lengthy discussions regarding the Nordine workforce, which is what I alluded to earlier. Again, nothing is imminent, but it was interesting that the bad press caused some interest, and we hope that continues. Item 8 on the Kemper campus is, I believe the Technology Training Center plans are now out for bid, or will be shortly. Now that we have a estimated timeline for that building to become available, I have, 2 weeks ago, I initiated the process of getting the lease process started with the State Fair Administration. So Joanna Anderson, Brent Bates, and Kinsey Dona are working together to get some dates together to now work on the lease now that we have a tentative time as to when that's going to become available. And I believe a call has been made already regarding, to city administration about budgetary planning for next year even. So anyway, that's in process, and I'm sure you will be hearing more about that. Other than that, I don't have anything else to draw out. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Nice.
Oh, my annual report? Good.
Yep.
Are we, can we give that out? I'm going to be speaking to a couple of groups, and I would love to have copies of that to give to people.
Absolutely.
I didn't know if the IDA had approved it at this point, so.
Yes, they have. I'm sorry.
Okay. I have a feel-good story for you. Over the weekend, my son ran into a friend of his, and he knew that this young man's dad worked at Nordine. So they were kind of catching up. He hadn't seen this kid in quite a while, and he asked his dad what he was going to be doing. And he said, "Oh, Dad's already got another job." And Kyle said, "Really?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, it's here in town. He's going to be making heaters for chicken coops." So that's our America's Energy America's LLC. So that was kind of a nice thing to hear. So
Yeah, that project continues to go well. It would be a poor thing to say, but the entrepreneur is running around like a chicken with his head. Yeah, I'll be here all week. No, I'm kidding.
Academy Award.
But he is very busy servicing the sales that he made last fall and getting those installations made, because he's trying to ramp up as is appropriate, and he's frankly quite busy trying to keep up with the orders that he has. So learning, getting the funding together and the capital that he needs to grow appropriately is what the IDA, in particular Wilbert Meyer and John Spinagle, have been working diligently on. So we're actively working on that. So
good job.
all right, thank you.
Okay. Kate, did you have anything you would like to add? Oh.
No, it was coming here miscellaneous.
Oh, okay.
We didn't communicate that part. As Jim alluded to, we did get the Science Hall approval from EDA. The bid documents were approved. A little bit like the bridge, it's always exciting when we're told we get to move to the next step, the next game board piece. We put out the bids last Tuesday, the 24th. There's a mandatory pre-bid for interested contractors on the 12th, and bids are due to the city on March 24th. With every grant, there's like a series of move forwards and then pauses, and then you move forward and then you pause again. They want to make sure they like what you're doing. So once we get the bids out, the city gets to submit everything to EDA again, and we have to get another approval. It's called a recommend to award, so they have to concur that we did everything the way they wanted us to do, that we are taking the right bidder. Then once we get that, then we get to sign contracts, and then we get to send the signed contract to EDA again for what's called the notice to proceed. So there's 2 more steps before construction gets to start. So this is a good step, but we got a few more to go before we'll see dirt turning. I just want to say that because I think people hear bids are out and think next week.
What does that time frame consist of?
Optimistically, I'd like to say that hopefully the EDA will take maybe 2 or 3 weeks on each of those steps. We seem to be working with a different gentleman in Denver, and he's a little more responsive, frankly, than our previous person that we worked with. So hopefully. And really, I think so long a lot of what they're checking isn't so much the contractor to make sure, but it's really like, did we advertise in the paper the way we said we would, and did we follow our rules? It's not so much checking up who the bidder, the procedure, making sure it's right. So Earl had asked me to look at this project. Getting in the bids is sort of giving us some certainty on a budget figure that we keep putting a number on, but not really knowing if we're right, if we're not right, because it's a big project, but we didn't know, and we're just going off some estimates that we have. And a lot of times people will hear about a project, whether it's the Katy Bridge or the Locust Street projects or this construction project, really any construction project, and think, how does it cost that much? How can this possibly cost that much to lay this concrete or build this street or whatever? So we just kind of, to give you guys a little bit of information, we wanted to talk to you a little bit about labor rates, which are frankly probably one of the biggest reasons why these projects cost so much. It's not a judgment, it's just the fact. MoDOT uses a ratio of 1/3 material and 2/3 labor on any project, and that's what we've used moving forward. So just so you know, we're talking about 2/3 of our project is labor. Because we're looking at the EDA project, that's a federal grant, we'll use the federal wage rates, prevailing wage rates. If it's a LPA project, we're going to look at the state rates. So anyways, the federal rates, just so you know, some things that you might think that we'll see down at Science Hall. A carpenter is going to make $24.24 an hour with fringe benefits at $15.05 an hour, so $40 an hour roughly, give or take. The electrician brings in $35.23 an hour, and then $19.53 at fringe benefits. A laborer like the brick mason, which we will have plenty as we tuck point that entire building, is going to be $26.81 and $12.47 with your fringe benefits. Painter for the guy who brushes and rolls, $28.58 with $15.07 in fringe benefits. And then drywall is also $28.80 and then $15.07. A roofer, which we may also have, just so you know, is $29.30 an hour with fringe benefits at $14.52. So we just kind of wanted to share those, so when you get the estimates and you think, holy cow, how can that cost $3 million to do this project? You'll kind of know that 2/3 of that price is typically labor, and we can't do anything about it. So we're, so long as we're playing by the rules of federal and state grant money, then that's how it goes. You guys have any questions? Anything else?
I was in Kate's office this morning, and she had a document that was about 2 inches thick, and it was the bid document, wasn't it? Yeah. So,
Can pay.
yeah. So,
These same rates apply no matter what we do, whether it's grants or city money.
Yep.
I just wanted you to get a flavor of that for perspective, because we might try some other things down the road. So,
okay. City clerk, Teresa, do you have anything?
I don't have anything tonight.
Okay. Miscellaneous, anyone have any miscellaneous? Morris?
I just like, thank Earl on the city budget. I don't think any citizen as well as council really understands how much hard work he puts in on the budget, and just reassure the citizens that he does everything that he possibly can to keep all rates and everything as low as he can.
Right.
But we had a very difficult budget. We got some great projects coming up, and we're lucky here in Boonville.
We are. We're able to do a lot with maybe not so much, so that's thanks to his creativity. I guess that's what you call it.
I guess.
Then the only other thing is street department. Our roads this past weekend was outstanding. I got out on them early Sunday morning. I thought, no way. And by noon Saturday, they was fairly clean. So we've got a great street department that really helps us get around here in Boonville.
Right. Okay. Any other miscellaneous? Of course, we have the half-cent CIP tax coming up. Tim, is there anything you want to report? Tim Carmichael is kind of spearheading that effort. I know you've got some flyers, and I didn't know if anyone wanted some, or...
Yeah, we've got
Could you come
a
up
handout that we've had printed off. So anybody that would like to come by and get a stack and pass them out in your place of employment or friends and neighbors, we'd appreciate it a lot, because we really need to get the word out to vote for this, because it's looking like it's probably going to be a low turnout in April with not much on the ballot, and so we'd like to get everybody behind it and get out and get it passed, because it's very important to the whole city, but especially the police, fire, park, economic development, who gets most of their actually money for equipment out of that, so.
Okay. Could you're spearheading a committee, and of course, no tax dollars can be used in that. So you've done some fundraising to raise private
Right,
contribution. Can you tell a little
all the
bit
money
about that?
that's been spent on the advertisement that's coming up, the pamphlets, the yard signs, that's been all paid for by donations and no city money at all, and
Okay.
we're able to stay within budget on it, so.
Okay. And you'll be going to groups and organizations?
Right.
So if there's a group or an organization that would like someone to come and
Yeah.
speak about the upcoming
Yeah, one
election,
of our
they can
committee
contact
members would be
you.
glad to come talk. They can call me at the fire station, I can set it up
Okay.
for them, and
Very good. Morris?
The only other thing is local agency funding. These not-for-profit organizations that request us funds to help them out without this half-cent sales tax, there'd be no
Right.
funds available.
Yeah. Good point. And I think you key in on that.
yeah, we've got committee members that are going to speak to try to cover all the organizations that get some of this local agency funding and make sure they get their members and constituents out to vote too, so.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. Anything else? If not, I would call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All those in favor say aye. Aye.